Hello and welcome, and thank you for watching. My name is Joe. I am servant of the Lord Jesus Christ, bringing to you today the full after-action review of the A.J. Harris Advanced CCW class. So, we give you a quick description of the class that they advertised. Veterans Day, November 11th, 2017, A.J. Harris Tactical is offering an advanced carry class with concealed carry option. If you have your CCW license and are interested in taking the next step, or you are an experienced shooter that needs your CCW, this class is for you. This is not a class for new shooters or those with little experience. We will be working on precision and speed drills, drawing from holsters, shooting while moving, use of cover, moving targets, issuing verbal commands, and more. So, the instructors were Jason Harris and Brian Weller. The students, the only one whose name I was able to remember and write down was Brian the cop. There was a USMC veteran who carried a 1911 in appendix. That's what I remember from him. And the other student, there was 4 total, including myself. His nickname was Magdum. We'll talk about that in a little bit. So, that's what I remember for the who's. That is what, that is where, that is when. So, all that said, let's get into the class itself. The gear required was a working firearm with at least 1 spare mag, a quality holster, and they have listed here no Uncle Mike's or Serpas. Thank you guys. 400 rounds of ammunition, eye and ear protection. So, final round count for me, I shot through 250 rounds, and I still have 150 rounds left. Now, I'm a pretty conservative shooter, and some of these drills, they didn't have a specific round count. It was, by the nature of the drill, you chose your own ending. So I'm a pretty conservative shooter. The other guy, Magdum, he went through at least 350 rounds. So I think 400 rounds is pretty good estimation. Now, one thing I want to mention right now is that they did not mention a flashlight on the gear list, and we did go over some low light drills. Now, they did have flashlights to hand out to the students if they had not brought one. But I'll say this is that it's an advanced CCW class, and in all the CCW classes that I've ever taken in Ohio, they tell you you need to have a flashlight. You have to be able to identify what you're shooting in the dark. So to me, I give them a pass on that. It wasn't mentioned. It should be mentioned, but it wasn't, and they had loaners because they didn't. But I'm going to say you should expect somebody with a CCW license to have a flashlight on them anyways. So I give them a pass on that anyways. So now, when I review this class, there are 3 scenarios that I'm considering. But all 3 start with R's because that's how I remember things. It has to be a recent class. Okay, so going to gun sight in 1980 doesn't count as good training in my mind. It has to be realistic. So for me, we have to take into consideration the climate, the culture, our area, the demographics, and all that was taken into account. And it has to be relevant. And then, so for this is an advanced CCW class, we didn't cover about building clearing or sniper shots, and that kind of stuff. And so definitely this class meets all 3 criteria very well. So let's go into the drills. I had the wherewithal to write down 11 specific drills. We'll just go ahead and talk about those. First drill that we started off with was the warm-up drill, where they covered how to draw from the holster, which was a 4-step draw, which is very standard and practical. And we had our warm-up shots, and we talked about balancing the difference between speed and accuracy. Generally things you do to shoot faster throws your accuracy out the window. Generally things that you do to be more precise slows you way down. So then from that we moved into incorporating moving off the X, and taking some headshots and doing a reload. And that was the second drill. Then moving into the third drill, we incorporated all those things that we just learned and added to it verbal commands. So talking to this person, telling them don't move, get on the ground, let me see your hands, all those kinds of things. Okay? So the next thing I want to say is that for every drill, they gave you a heads up of what to expect, but after basically what I'm calling drill number 4, and they didn't exactly name the drills or give them numbers or anything, this is just how I keep my notes. Basically after drill number 4, they started throwing curveballs. Well, they gave you a proper heads up of what to expect in the drill, but then they added something to it or took something away that you were expecting. And I appreciated that because it definitely kept you on your toes and kept you guessing, kept you thinking and problem solving. So, drill number 4 is what I call choose your own ending, because basically the setup for this drill was, again, this is an indoor range, so you can imagine we had all the lanes, but then we went out in front of like the benches, pedestals, whatever you want to call them, and so that we could move freely from lane to lane without any real restrictions or barriers. And in this, we went 2 at a time, and me and Mag Dump were the first ones, and as I remember it. And basically we were lined up on our target, the call was threat, and then we brought out our guns, but they weren't moving, so we're just issuing verbal commands. And then they would move like 2 foot forward and then go back, and then it would move 4 foot forward and go back, and it would move erratically. So how did you react to that was assessed. And then at one point, well, I'll get to that in a minute. The other thing I had in my notes is I wish I had brought water. I really did wish I had brought water. So anyways, so that was drill number 4. So drill number 5 was basically what I call choose your own ending plus incorporating the 21-foot rule. So it was basically everything we just did in number 4. And then, you know, when a person advances 10 feet and you're 20 feet away, do you shoot them or not? I didn't. You know, when that target started coming after me, I got my sights lined up, I started my trigger press, and then before I got my shot off, it stopped. And so I was like, okay, it stopped. Okay, is it really stopped? Okay, it stopped. Okay, I don't need to shoot it. Now, that's because I'm pretty slow on the trigger. Mag Dump on my right, that thing's coming at him, closing the distance, covering half the distance from 20 feet to 10. He put about 5 rounds in him. So, you know, again, your skill level will basically determine your own ending, and how you assess the threat will also determine your own ending. So I don't particularly feel threatened in most situations. That neither here nor there. Just telling you my perspective. So drill number 5, again for the 3rd time, was choose your own ending plus a 21-foot rule. So in this drill, you definitely needed to shoot the target because it was coming at you. If we were 25 foot away, it came up to 20 foot. So moving on from drill 5 to drill 6, the low light drill, the question was asked before the drill, do you all have a flashlight and do you know how to shoot with it? And we all did. So they had flashlights loaned out, and I'm sure if anybody had said I've never done it and I don't know how to do it, they would have showed them how to do it. But we all already did, so we moved forward into the drill. And so the lights went out. The command was go ahead and make ready, draw your gun, and put your light on the target. And we all did that, and we all did that in 4 different ways. There's 4 of us, and we all had a different way of illuminating the target. The cop had a light integrated into his weapon, so he had a 2-handed grip on his gun, and the light just lit up the target. I went with the holding a flashlight at the neck, 1-handed grip on the gun, because I need to see my sights. Okay, I'm pretty sure I'm the only one that used a flashlight in a manner that I could actually see my sights. So whatever, kudos to me. Anyways, then there was the cigar style holding the flashlight, and then there was the flashlight on the back and like that. So all 4 of us had a different way of using a flashlight to illuminate the target, which was hilarious in my mind. So, and then we incorporated doing a reload, which for the cop is really easy because he's already got 2 hands available, so 1 hand holding the gun, the other hand doing that. I have to, and so did the other 2 gentlemen, take the flashlight and do something with it. Either if you have a flashlight pouch, you can stick it in that, or for me, I stick it in my pocket, do a reload by feel in the dark, and then bring the flashlight out, and then, well, hopefully the bad guy's still there. So that's what I did. And then going from the basics of the low light, basically just lighting up the target and doing reloads and all that kind of stuff, we went from that to choose your own ending with the low light scenario. So, and then after that, drill number 7, I have drill number 8, which is what I call crowd control, which is there were 6 lanes, and so you had cardboard hanging down from each lane, and then on each piece of cardboard you had a center target, a left target, a left target, and a right target stapled to it. So you had your straight paper target, then you had like your IDPA style silhouette on the left and the right stapled to it, and every individual got a number. So there was generally 3 targets per lane, and they were all brought out to varying distances. And like I said, we were out in front of the stalls, so the drill was we would walk through the crowd in the varying depths and distances that they were, and when a number was called out, that number was a threat, so we had to find the number, get lined up on it, and shoot. So that was probably my favorite drill because that was the most challenging. I'd never done anything like that before. So walking through a dynamic environment like that, and then assessing the target, shooting the target, making sure that you are shooting the target and not an innocent person behind them. So, which that did happen once. The fella took a bad angle, shot like target 4, and target 10 was behind it because of the angle, and shot target 10. And we talked about that, you know, I mean, that's the point of training. So, and then drill number 9 was the one-handed stuff. And so for the one-handed stuff, it was draw as normal, then transition into the left hand. For offhand shooting, for me it's the left hand. If you were righty, it was the other. But anyways, so the one-hand shooting plus one-handed reloads. My way of doing a one-handed reload is to stick it back in my holster and work from there. But when we got to running an empty magazine, they told us to raise our hands if we wanted help with doing a one-handed reload. It's like, yeah, no, please show me your way of doing this. And so basically what they said, Jason told me, he was like, okay, eject the magazine, did that, take the gun, rotate it over, stick it under the armpit, get my magazine, stick it in the gun, grab gun, tap, rack off the belt, get back in the fight. Which was cool. I liked it. I liked it on the training range. I'm not a big fan of that in wrestling around on the ground and that kind of stuff because I don't like to hold on to things while I do other things if I'm not using my hands. So I think I'll prefer to jam it back into my holster and work from there, just because my holster has better retention on it than my armpit. You're free to form your own opinion on that, but I would definitely recommend trying whatever the instructor tells you to try and maintain an open mind when you go to a class like this. So that was drill number 9. Drill number 10, which was run 2 at a time, which was basically we started off on a target that was right in front of us, belly to belly, doing gut shooting. And yeah, I didn't cover the fact that we went over gut shooting because it's not in my notes, and I'm going to cover that in a minute. So we started off with the belly shot, pap, pap, and then moved from there to the right, getting a second threat, pap, pap, and then moving from that to the left, and then having a target that we had to issue verbal commands to. So maybe this target went compliant, maybe it didn't. It was that choose your own ending thing. And then what I have for drill number 11, which was basically the culmination of things, which was a 30-foot low light, 6 shots to the head in less than 12 seconds, and you need a 5 to 6 to pass, and I didn't pass. I got 3. So my 3 headshots were pow, 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 and then I had 1 in the collar, 2 in the neck, and then 1 in the other collar. So I'm okay with those shots, but they weren't all 3. They weren't all 6 headshots. It was only 3 in the head. So now somewhere between drill number 8 and drill number 10, we learned about shooting from the gut, which was get this hand on top of your head, draw, can't out the magazine in your belly, squeeze off the rounds, feeling that back pressure of coming off the target and seeing the paper fly and all that stuff. Is a great experience. And the other thing that, and another drill that we did, and I just don't remember when exactly it happened, I didn't write it down, but it was somewhere between 8 and 10, was shuttle runs, which was, you know, the weapon holstered, running back to a distance, up to a distance, back to a distance, up to a distance, and then engaging a threat and seeing how your accuracy is affected by your heart rate being increased.